Welcome back to Cradle to Chaos. It's me, Kelsey, and Brittany.
Hi.
For any new listeners joining in, first of all, thank you for listening. But second of all, Brittany and I are parents to very young children, all girls. And this is just our platform to talk about life and give each other advice on parenting. And you guys have been great with that too. So we like to start every episode just talking about the week and getting into the things that our kiddos did for us that were sweet. And also
not so sweet.
like Sour Patch Kids.
Yes. Within seconds of each other, too.
Yeah, literally. So how was your week so far?
It's good. It's going really well. Nothing really notable. How about you? I feel like you're like coming down from like a ton of busy things.
I feel like I can like finally exhale.
Yeah.
We had Chloe's surgery and then Lainey just turned 3.
It's crazy.
So wild.
And we're still surrounded by the decorations, which I absolutely love. And
until the balloons actually touch the floor, they go
And they're
nowhere.
the foil kind, so they won't.
Never.
Ever. You could probably use it for Chloe's 3rd birthday at this rate.
Right. Every day I look at them and I'm like, we should take them down. And then Lainey comes down from upstairs and she goes, balloons. And I'm like, okay, they're staying forever.
No, you put so much time and effort and money into the party, which was fabulous, by the way.
Thank you.
So you should keep it up as long as you can.
We'll see. We'll see how long it lasts. I'm still
at least until Chloe's birthday.
It was so clean, and then the party ended, and I'm like, okay, I've got a couple more weeks before I have to rage clean again,
just to have it happen again for Chloe's first birthday.
Literally. At least there won't be as many children running around then.
I can't believe Chloe turns 1.
Stop. We don't have to talk about it. It's
Okay.
we don't have to acknowledge it yet.
Well, did your kids give you any treats? I know they gave you tantrums, so I won't start with that. But did they give you any treats this week?
Yeah. My treat is actually Lainey. She's so big. I feel like and this is just like kind of an overarching statement, but like she's just been having really great days lately. I know that's so general and vague, but I feel like she's starting to really understand concepts and like it's not like when you talk to like a fresh new 2-year-old and they'll like repeat what you're saying, but they truly like can't comprehend what you're saying. I don't have any good examples of this, but like,
I get it.
I don't know. For like example, giving her a heads up when she can't do something that we know she's going to want to do. Like we were going to go outside because we have all this new stuff. She got a trampoline for her birthday. So we've been outside a lot. Ooh. And, we also got new sand for the sandbox that we have outside that she literally hasn't been able to play with for a year. So that's been very exciting for her. But it's like, I don't know how to explain it. Maybe you can explain it better. It's like a sandbox that you open and then it has like a canopy that you lift up, but it's heavy. So I can't do it by myself. And Adam.
It's a pimped out sandbox is what it is. It's not that turtle shit we had as kids. This is a real life sandbox.
First of all, it was a gift.
It has seats, which I think I broke.
Well, it's nice because it closes and then it opens and becomes seats.
Yeah.
But
so if it's closed, you really don't know what it is. It's just like almost looks like a garden box or something like that.
Well, Adam wasn't home that night, and so I was like trying to let her know in advance, like, hey, like just so you know, we're gonna go outside, we're gonna play. I know you want to play with the sand, but I can't because it's too heavy. Mommy can't open it by herself. And we went outside, and she like walked over there, and she goes, "Oh, too heavy for Mommy," and like literally walked and did something else. I was like, thank God. You know those moments you're like, oh, this could go one way or another. Yeah. But like things like that have been happening more and more lately where she's like, oh, yeah, that makes sense. Got it. Okay, moving on.
Like she gets it. Like it's like it's sticking.
Yes.
Like
I don't know if that's not really a treat, but it's been making me happy. So
I actually that's something I've been thinking about a lot lately is how Millie's like becoming like more of a little person instead of a baby because we can have conversations like that, or she remembers things. Like her memory is just it's crazy.
They're all wild.
Yeah. But like I've been getting really sad because when I look at her, she's like not a baby. Like she looks tall and skinny and like she's like a little like kid.
It's crazy.
Almost, and it makes me
She's
sad.
like a little girl instead of a
Yeah.
little baby. Yeah.
We had a moment like that where she repeated what I said, but like got it.
Mm-hmm.
On the way home from dance the other night, I had to go back inside and get tickets from Amber, and who's the dance teacher, and she was upstairs teaching her next class. So Millie and I went in and just grabbed them and like walked out, and I kept telling her, like, because I already had her in the car, so I had to get her out of the car,
yeah.
and so I had to tell her why I was getting her out of
Right.
the car again. And I was like, oh, we have to get tickets from Amber. Got her back in the car the whole way home. She's like, we got tickets from Amber. And then the minute would go by, we got tickets from Amber.
Yeah.
And I'd be like, yeah, we got tickets from
I
Amber.
just
Here
love
they
as a parent,
are.
you're just constantly acknowledging whatever your child happens to
Yeah.
be saying. Yep. Uh-huh.
But I was just like, she
Sure
got it. Like, she understood why we got out of the car, and we have these tickets from Amber.
So funny. That's so cute.
Hey, Amber, if you're listening.
You know
Shout
she
out.
is. You know she is. What did Millie do for you? That was sweet this week.
So I like, whenever we're playing and like, you know, I'll like tickle her or whatever, and I'll like pretend to like munch on her arm or her cheek, and I'll be like, I'm eating you. I'm eating you. You know, weird shit that you do as a parent. And she's never done it back to me until last weekend. We were outside eating a little like ice cream cone.
Yeah.
And she was like licking her ice cream cone, and she comes over, and I'm just sitting in a chair, like my arms are like on the armrests, and she comes over and just licks my elbow. Just licks my elbow, and I'm like, hello. And she's like, I eat you.
It's funny 'cause she's like, I think it's funny, so mommy obviously will too.
But I've never licked her when I did it, you know? Like, I've always just like, I'm like, you know, like just
so
pretend I was
funny.
munching. Oh my God. I just died laughing. I eat you. Just licked my elbow. I was like, this is disgusting.
Oh my gosh, that's so sweet. She
That
just
was
wanted to
funny.
do something sweet for
It
you.
was adorable. I loved
Well, my tantrum is Chloe this week.
it. Chloe, you were doing so
I
well.
know. She was always on the high part.
Oh,
and-
sweet angel baby.
I know. So she's starting to experience a little separation anxiety now.
Starting.
Okay, but like, you'll understand in a minute. She doesn't like to be with most other people but me and Adam.
Fair.
But
True. Can attest.
yes, but now it's like she will be eating at her high chair, and I will literally take her from her high chair and sit her on the ground beside me. But because she's no longer at my level, she
She's too far away.
loses her mind. Like 5 minutes of pure shrill screaming, and the best part is like once she's done, then she like just crawls over and like plays like nothing just happened. I'm like, what just happened?
Like, it was the initial
She's like, I just needed to get it
shock.
out, and now I'm good.
Yeah. Transitions, I feel like, are really hard at that age.
Yeah.
Like just transitioning from one thing to the next.
Especially when it has to do with food. I could leave Chloe in her high chair all day and she would just keep eating. But girl can
That's
eat.
crazy.
Yeah. So.
My tantrum. So last weekend we drove up to visit Matt's grandma. It was about 2 hours away. So I sat in the back with Millie for most of the drive. And I was driving her to school earlier this week.
Road
and
trips, your favorite thing.
Yeah, I hate them. That one wasn't too bad because it was 2 hours, but anything past 2 hours, count me out. I'm not coming. We were driving to school, and it was just me and her, and she's like, Mama, sit back. And like pointed to the back seat and wanted me to come sit in the back with her. And I'm like, girl, I am driving.
I gotta drive this train.
I really can't. She's like, Mama, sit back. And like, she just wanted me to
Aw.
sit in the back so bad. It was so cute. And our drive is like 2 minutes.
Literally, yeah.
But it was just kind of funny.
Aw.
She didn't understand why
That's
I couldn't
so
come and
funny.
sit back with her, which, you know, if I would have,
Oh
I
my
don't know.
gosh.
The car, that would not have been good. It would not have been good.
I mean, I have used my go-go gadget arms on more than one occasion when I'm driving the car.
Oh, yeah.
I literally I go to a yoga class and I never feel so unflexible in my life. And then I'm in the driver's seat of my car and I've never been more flexible
Yeah.
in my life. I'm like, how is my arm even like physically capable of reaching this?
You grab this thing off the floor, you open a bag of goldfish, like you can do
with
it all.
2 fingers. Yeah.
It really is amazing sometimes.
Yeah. Moms can do some wild things without even realizing it.
Truly.
So today we're talking about all things medical related, like reasons we called the doctor, visits, allergies, etc. And I have a tantrum of my own that I would like to share relating to this topic. So recently, Lainey got referred. She needs to go see a specialist. She needs to see an audiologist.
Oh, yeah.
That appointment was supposed to be today. We got a call a couple days ago that appointment needed to be rescheduled. So I'm like, ooh, whatever. It's rescheduled for 2 weeks from now. So at least it wasn't like forever in the future.
Yeah, still annoying though.
Yesterday, I get a call from their pediatrician that both of their well visits need to be rescheduled. I was like, what in the world?
What's happening?
And it's even more annoying because the only appointments that they had available were in the middle of nap time. Like, I wonder why those were the only appointments available, because nobody wants to do that.
And
So-
you're almost getting punished because, or like punished as though you didn't schedule it in advance, but you did.
I did. And they're like, both offices that called me were like, oh, the doctor's out that day. I'm like,
You didn't know about
I mean,
this?
I know things come up, but like, what are the odds? In the same week, I get calls
Yeah.
from 2 different doctor's offices with the same reason that the appointment needs to be moved. So part of me thinks that maybe they just use that as an excuse when they mess up. But
Oh.
anyways,
Yeah.
I was like, okay.
I feel like doctors have to like put in their vacation like months and months and months in advance.
Yeah. Well, so
But I don't know. I'm not a doctor.
the first thing I wanted to say on this topic is that I think it is so hard to find a good pediatrician that you connect with that shares your like same values and viewpoints. So there's not a constant battle on things. Like, I knew I wanted somebody who was okay with prescribing antibiotics, who like, you know, I don't want to like let my kids sit there and simmer. Like, I am pro medicine. I am like whatever can help them.
100%.
But a lot of parents want a more holistic approach. So if you are about to become a parent, just make sure you look into that and that you have the same viewpoints on things. But we also just recently found out that their pediatrician is leaving, and we're
happened to
so
us.
sad. Granted, he's moving across the country, so
Fair.
I'm like, do we move to North Carolina? I'm not sure. They already have a replacement for him, so we'll of course try out this new doctor and see how it goes. But it was just like, oh, like it hurts my heart. He's such a cheerleader for us. He's always like, you guys are doing a great job,
Yeah.
and like so sweet. And so I'm sad about that.
That is sad.
How do you guys love Millie's doctor? Or-
Yeah, we like her. The same thing happened to us about a year ago, and yeah, the doctor that we had like picked out that had been referred to us, we really liked her, and then she moved somewhere. I don't know, but we have a new one, and I like her just as well. I like
That's
her
good.
a lot because she, unlike the first doctor, has kids herself,
Gotcha.
and she's got twin girls and
Aw.
a son. So they're really young too, so it's kind of nice to just like, I'll just be like, can you also look at this like mole or like
Yeah.
freckle or something
Yeah.
like on me or on Millie?
Right.
Like I'll just be like, can you like just as mom to mom like friends
A
like
little bit more relatable.
yeah, like I feel like she's just very like I would like hang out with her. like,
That's amazing.
but yeah.
Well, my notes for today's topic are a little sporadic. So
Yeah.
I don't know how you did this, but I kind of went into like things that our girls have dealt with. And then I also went into things that they've never had that I know a lot of kids have had. So I started with ear tubes because I know you've been there too. So both of our girls have them. Lainey got hers around 7 months, and it was because of recurrent ear infections. And she probably had ear infections every few weeks from the time she was like 2 months old.
Yeah.
Like they never went away. She was miserable all the time. And this is like, granted, as we get into this episode, you'll realize all the other things that she had going on. So like, it was like usually only an ear infection or an ear infection plus X, Y, and Z. So it was just, she was so sad all the time. And like when she was really, really, really little, we would actually be surprised when we take her to the doctor because she wouldn't have any symptoms. And they're like, yeah, she got an ear infection. We're like, are you sure?
Yeah.
But then as she got older, we would be able to pick up on what was going on. She wouldn't drink her bottles, or she just had a really hard time sleeping. But it was a godsend getting them. I know you had a very different experience, but it like changed her life. And
That's
she's
great.
3. Oh my God, I'm still getting used to saying that she's 3.
Yeah.
She's 3 now, and only one of them have fallen out. So she still has the other one. So
Oh, do they have to replace the one that fell out?
nope.
Oh.
No,
Is
they're
she gonna
supposed
get
to fall
another
out.
set, or is she like good
Not
to
unless
go,
she
you
needs
think?
it. I mean,
Yeah.
if she starts getting ear infections again, with something that we'll explore. But
Yeah.
yeah, I feel like that first 3 years is that sweet spot for
Yeah.
getting all that sickness. So I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll see. Hopefully not.
Yeah. Millie got hers probably around the same age the first time, but then we went to our like checkup, and he said that they were clogged, and he cleared them out and said, come back in 2 weeks. And then we came back in 2 weeks and they were still clogged. So we had to go and do surgery all over again, which was super frustrating because we had to pay for it again. Which I was like, but this
sucks.
like, he kind of like admitted that maybe he had messed up a little bit or like something didn't go quite right and installing them.
Installing them. You know, like when the plumber comes out.
When you install software. What would you,
Did he not follow the directions?
He didn't follow the user's manual, I don't think. What would you call it?
I don't know. Placing them?
Okay, applying's worse.
It sounds like it's a sticker. Like,
I wish it was that easy.
Oh my God. I don't think I've ever referred to the tubes being like, I guess I'd say inserted, but that also sounds weird.
I don't like that at all.
That's too much. Okay. Anyways, moving on.
Anyway, I don't know. I feel like they fell out like 6 months later, and
Oh, that's really fast.
and so we went back, and which I'm hoping it's because like her ears were like the what do you even call it? Like the ears themselves were. You know, growing. I'm just over
She's
here.
just
like,
flashing her fingers at me like I'm supposed to know what this means. I mean, so for anyone who has never gone through this procedure
what
before.
would you call that though?
I
wanna
have
say, like,
no idea what
canal.
you're talking about. The eardrum?
No, the eardrum doesn't grow. Well, I mean, it does. But like where the fluid drains in the ear from the
Sinus?
canals.
This is amazing.
Rivers.
So we are medical professionals. If you can't already tell, clearly we both have our
Kelsey
PhDs,
chose this topic,
and you should take every single bit of advice that we have to offer.
I must shut
So
up over
from
here.
what I understand, it's totally up to the anatomy of everyone's ears.
Yeah.
So like in our case, it's very much hereditary, and it's Adam's fault. He has horrible ears. He has had tubes as an adult. Him and Lainey went in for surgery together on the same day. It was a family trip. And well, no, it wasn't on the same day, but he went a couple weeks later. It was close enough that it was comical, but
Wait, it's genetic?
yeah, they said that it can be a genetic thing. Even the doctor was like, with your family history, it makes sense. So I think it's more to do with the anatomy of the ear. So like, if you think about what happens to you when you get a cold, like for me, I have always had more problems with my tonsils. I used to have strep a ton as a kid. And when I get a cold, I always get drainage down the throat. That's just kind of where it goes for me. With Adam, it goes to his ears. So that's why he gets ear infections all the time. And that's how the girls are too. So I think it just is like, however, it's just like you're born that way.
Yeah,
And
it's where the canals go.
Exactly. But it's a super, super quick procedure.
Yeah,
They
so
are
common.
They are, like the actual surgery is what, 15 minutes, if that.
Yeah.
And then they are back to their normal selves. So Chloe literally just had hers done last week.
Yeah.
Yeah. So she was almost 11 months old. She did not have ear infections quite as bad as Lainey, but again, they were like, you've been there, done that. Kind of up to you if you want to do it. And I was like, I mean, you can do it right here, right now, if it's gonna make her feel better. So, it's kind of gross, but once they do have tubes, you always know when they have an ear infection because it drains out the tubes and into the ears.
That's what I heard
like,
was supposed to happen.
and there'll be like yellow fluid in there all the time if they're sick. But it's nice because then you don't really have to go to the doctor if they don't have any other symptoms. We would just give them drops because we have like stock in ear drops here.
That is the good thing that came from.
It is nice. Saves you some doctor visits. If they don't have a fever, nothing else is going on, we would just start drops, and they always say try it for at least 3 days, and if it's cleared up, you can
clears it right out.
Super fast.
Did I ever tell you about our last ENT visit was like a follow up to her second tubes, and we went to a different location this time. To get a different opinion from a different doctor. And he was like, in the middle of our appointment, he's like, hold on, let me go get something from my car. And he goes in his car and he gets like a bottle of hydrogen peroxide.
Oh.
And he was like, I know this is going to sound weird, but just like put a drop in her ear.
It hurts so bad.
When it gets bad, if you feel like it's getting bad, and it'll clear out everything. And so I think we did it a few times, and it worked.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That sounds terrifying. I remember my parents used to put hydrogen peroxide on like everything. We had a cut or scrape or like, and it
Yeah.
hurt so bad it would like bubble and sting. And
Yeah.
It was awful.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's as common practice anymore.
Well, it's basically like the way he described
cleans
it.
it.
He's like, it nukes everything.
That's amazing. Okay.
So, yeah, we haven't done that in a really long time. And we only did if it was like super, super bad. But
I will.
it worked.
I mean,
Thank
whatever
you, doctor, for your car hydrogen peroxide.
I will say that we did get scared a couple times with Lainey. She would get ear infections so bad that her ears would bleed.
Oh.
And with the tubes, it looks really, really bad. Like there was a time, I mean, I called the doctor because I was like, I mean, it wouldn't stop. Like she had like bright red blood just like oozing from her ear,
Oh
both
my
of her ears.
gosh.
And we were like, And they were like, give it a couple days. And I'm like,
Yeah.
are you sure? I'm like, is her brain melting? Like, what is happening here?
Yeah. Well, like, and why is it blood?
They explained it to me, and I don't remember
you
what
promptly blacked out.
Like, just yeah.
I feel
all I heard is she's okay.
Any conversation I have with the doctor after I leave, I'm like, I feel like I blacked out.
Yeah.
I don't know. What did they just say to me?
I know, but in a nutshell, apparently it's normal, and it's something that's like already there.
Oh, okay.
But sometimes when you already have the ear infection, it's just like pushing everything out then because there's so much pressure.
It's just like jarring to see blood.
Yeah, it was,
Anywhere, but
yeah.
especially coming out of your ear.
So all that to say that tubes are worth it. For some of us.
For some people.
Some people might be in my kitchen rolling their eyes. I'm not sure. But
I'm a non-believer.
Yeah, non-believer. Ear tubes are fake.
That's a
fake
scam.
news. Oh my gosh.
So I have a question. I actually don't know. Like, so you've called the doctor after hours.
Oh yeah.
Okay, I never have. And I almost feel like it's because I don't know the number. Like, I don't know who I would call.
I think it just depends on your office. So when we first were taking Lainey there, they explained all that to us. So our pediatrician has Saturday hours, which is nice, but then they also have an after hours line. So you just call the regular number, and it like triages you to the after hours line.
Okay.
And then for us, we would usually either leave a message if nobody answered, or like whoever was in charge of the phones then would answer, like take a message, and then whoever was the on-call doctor would then call us. Or like if it wasn't doctor emergency level, whatever, then a nurse would call us.
Okay. My go-to is usually just to get on the Ohio Health app and like write a message, and then they usually get back to me like first thing in the morning.
Yeah, I mean, if it's not nothing like you feel like you need an answer to right then. I feel like most recently I had one of those moments where I was like, I'm failing as a mom, and I will say that Google is the worst thing on the planet when you are a worried parent. So I was giving Chloe a bath, and she was, I don't know, maybe about 4 months old, because she was trying to sit, and she could sit sometimes, but she wasn't very sturdy. I was giving her a bath, and you know those moments where you turn around for literally 5 seconds. I literally turned around to grab her towel because I was getting her out, turned back around, and she was like face down in the water, and I was like, oh my God. So I like picked her up, and like she's coughing and whatever. So I'm Googling like, how do you know if there's water in your child's lungs, or what happens? And then I like Googled all this stuff about like, that's like one of the number one reasons why parents wake up and their kids had passed away in the middle of the night. And I was like,
oh my God,
sobbing. I'm like pacing it back and forth upstairs, and Adam's like, it's fine, she's okay.
No.
And he's like, if you're worried, call the doctor. And I was like, I'm immediately calling the doctor.
Yep, I would have done the same thing.
I remember the nurse was like, when she called me back, I'm like, okay, I feel really silly for making this call, but also I'm really worried, and like talked her through what happened. She's like, how long do you think she was down? And I was like, I mean, it felt like an eternity for me, but like truly probably seconds.
Yeah.
And she was like, is she breathing normal? Is she coughing a lot? And I was like, she did cough a lot, like once I like got her out of there, but she hasn't coughed since. And I was like, and now she's asleep in her crib, and like I'm afraid to leave her there. And she was like, if it makes you feel better, like go in there, check on her throughout the night, but like truly I don't think you have anything to worry about unless like you are hearing a change in breathing or whatever. And she was like, and before I got off the phone, she's like, I just wanted to tell you you're doing a great job. Oh. And I was like,
I would have started crying.
I literally was like sobbing. I was like, thank you so much.
Oh my God. God, I would have done the same thing.
So yeah, don't ever, if you are ever second guessing yourself, just make the call. Make the call. They get these calls 100 times a day. They're used to it. That's literally what they're paid to do. Just do it.
Yeah.
It made me feel so much better.
Oh yeah, you just need like that peace of mind sometimes.
Yeah, I think that was the only like really random reason that I've called the doctor. I do remember like bringing things up to the doctor at visits. Like I was telling you a couple episodes ago, the time that Lainey hit Chloe, and like she was so little, she had an appointment like every other day, it felt like.
Yeah.
And we were like, so something happened. And he was like, well, she's beautiful and she's perfect and she's healthy and she seems totally fine. And siblings tend to do that.
Yeah. Like, it probably won't be the last time.
Yeah, it has, knock on wood, it has been. But
Yeah. Well, I'm sure Lainey, she seems traumatized by it. Well, sort of. Definitely made a lasting impression on
they're
her.
fine. But yeah, it's just like those things you don't expect to happen. Oh my God. I'm like, is she going to have brain damage from this? Like,
Yeah.
you just.
Yeah. For like a split second.
Yeah.
Oh, that's rough. I've never had to call the doctor after hours, but I have called 911.
Oh, that's
That was
right.
the worst freaking day of my life. Yeah, Millie choked while we were eating dinner, and I was like,
Were you by yourself?
yes.
Which is
I
also
was
terrifying.
by myself. I was cooking dinner. Again, like you said, just kind of like turn my back for a second. I look over and she's like flailing. And of course, I had her buckled in to her booster seat, which a lot of people say don't do that in case they choke so that you can get to them faster. Yeah, I've read that before.
Well, Lainey won't let us strap her in anymore, so.
Yeah, I don't do it. Well, after that moment, I didn't do it, and I will never do it again. But because it was just another barrier to get to her. But yeah, I mean, I did the baby Heimlich on her, and it was just like I don't know how long it lasted.
Yeah.
Like to your point, it felt like eternity, but I think it was probably only a minute or two. But still, when they're choking and they can't do anything, it's
What did she
literally
choke
terrifying.
on?
She choked on one of those like frozen little banana pieces, like the chocolate covered ones. I cut it into fourths.
Yeah.
And she was not munching, and then all of a sudden she wasn't munching. But somehow, I don't know, I was just like terrified that I wasn't going to get it out in time, or like, I don't know, I tried the like Heimlich thing, it wasn't working at first, and so I just like luckily had my phone right there, just dialed 911. By the time the operator even answered the phone, it was like out of her. But yeah.
How did the phone call go?
Absolutely terrifying. Okay, very different than you would assume a 911 call would go. Usually on the movies, they're like, 911, what's your emergency?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure, again, I feel like I blacked out, but because I was just in hysterics, like sobbing, could like not even like talk. I'm pretty sure she asked my address.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the first thing I've always been asked when I've called 911. It's never like, what's going on? It's like, what's your address?
What's your address? But like, don't they know that? Can I be like,
I don't know.
tracked?
I feel like from a landline, but maybe not necessarily a cell phone. I don't know.
Okay.
That's a good
Well, I was
question.
like, huh?
You're like, I don't know.
Yeah, I literally was. I think the first thing I said was like, she was choking. Like, I don't know. I was just like, I truly don't even know. I was just like a complete mess. But yeah, I think that's the first thing they asked, and they still sent out the squad to like check on her and stuff. And like, I like had my like fingers down her throat at one point. So I was like, that's probably good, because like, I want you to come make sure she's okay. And she was completely fine. Like, they just like literally like 4 giant firemen showed up. Aww. And I'm like sobbing, and my poor baby's like, what is happening? What just happened?
She's like, can I have my banana back?
Yeah, literally, she loved them. Hasn't had one since, but and never will. But she was like 18 months too at that time. So I don't know. She was.
I remember you texting me about that.
Oh yeah. But yeah, so it's like 4 giant firemen show up, and I'm just like, I can't even catch my breath. And
you're
they,
like, I don't know what happened. Just make sure she's okay.
Yeah, and then I like called my parents to come over. I called Matt, who was like, I hear that like a work happy hour or something. It was awful.
No. Well, I'm glad that she was okay.
Yeah. But because of that, I only gave her grapes for the first time this week.
That's fair.
And cut them into a bajillion pieces.
Yeah, we always cut grapes into fourths.
Yeah.
Have you seen those? like reels or TikToks where it's a mom sitting there with grapes cutting them up, and it's like me congratulating my son on getting married,
Yes.
but also cutting his grapes.
Yes, that's gonna be us for sure. I still haven't given
100%.
her fruit snacks.
Oh my God, Lainey would actually wither away without fruit snacks.
I'm scared.
That's all she eats. Fruit snacks?
Do
Fruit
they
snacks?
get stuck?
Well, I don't know. Not that I know of. She's doing fine.
Oh,
I feel like those are small enough that I don't know.
small enough. That's not a good thing.
Okay, there's a difference between a choking hazard and like something that's smaller than a choking hazard. Like, I think a lot of people, you know what you should get that would ease your mind?
I have one.
A choke tube?
Yes.
Okay. So if it can fit inside, it's not a choking hazard.
Having been through,
Or that's not necessarily true. Technically, if it fits
Anything
inside,
can
it
be a
is,
choking
it is a
hazard.
choking hazard.
that's the thing. Anything can be a choking hazard. That's what gets me. I did buy one after the fact, that like little life vac thing.
Yeah,
whatever
I've
it
seen
is.
those, and I've thought about getting one, but I've gotten actually really lax. Like, Lainey eats full on blueberries now. Like, I don't cut those up anymore.
Well, she's 3.
She's an adult. Yeah.
She's basically
There's still
grown.
some things I won't let her have. I won't let her have popcorn.
Yeah, we don't do popcorn. Well, I don't do a lot of
Like,
things.
no like hard candies, like a Jolly
No.
Rancher or anything like that. Although she
God,
does
no.
eat suckers. And anytime
Yeah.
she gets it off the stick, I'm like, spit it out, you're done.
Yep. Oh, same. Or if it gets too small.
Yeah.
Spit it out,
all
you're done. I'm like,
she usually
a
like is
psycho.
bored of it by then anyway, but
Yeah.
um
But having been through that, I would not, my first instinct would not to be to grab that thing. My first instinct is to do the Heimlich.
totally.
And like
Yeah.
I wouldn't even think about that, because your brain literally is not thinking straight.
fried.
You're literally just like fight or flight.
and when it comes to your kids, you're a fight always. Well, I have a topic that I can talk on a little bit is allergies. So,
Wait, I kind of want to know why you've called 911.
it's been mostly because of work. When I worked in childcare, like a lot of stuff would happen.
Oh,
Like-
so like the kids?
Yeah, like I had a couple of kids have seizures.
Oh my God.
Like lots of gaping wounds because
Oof.
kids like run into literally
Yeah.
everything. A couple broken arms.
Oh my gosh.
Or like people lingering by the school.
Oh,
and,
okay.
like stuff like that. But like luckily nothing with my own kids.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we found out relatively early that Lainey had an egg allergy.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah, it was a scary time. So we didn't really think anything of it. We used to have a Saturday morning routine where we'd go out to breakfast every Saturday. And like, at breakfast time you eat scrambled eggs. So she was probably like 6 or 7 months old. So like she was eating table foods and we were just letting her try whatever. Didn't really think anything of it. Got home, everything was fine. Later that day, she threw up in her crib. And I know, and like, at that age, it's like,
Yeah.
they throw up for everything.
Yeah.
But I did like make a mental note, like it was all egg that came up. It was weird.
Yeah.
But I still like didn't really think anything of it.
Yeah.
A couple weeks later, we went out to breakfast again. Same old, same old. As we were leaving the restaurant, I noticed a couple hives on her face.
Oh no.
Yeah, but like she was fine. She was breathing fine. And I was like, oh, we'll bring it up at our next doctor's appointment, whatever. I actually had a nail appointment that day. So like we had driven separately and I had like gone. I remember I literally had parked and Adam called me and he was like, hey, like her eyes and her mouth are getting really red. I'm like, okay, great. So I'm going to need you to meet me at urgent care like, immediately. So like we went to Children's and it ended up like going down by the time she actually got there. But all that to say, we got referred to an allergist at Children's. She was prescribed an EpiPen. And then we went in to do the allergy test, which is like back pricks, which is just the saddest thing ever. Like they just like, their whole back is just like so red and swollen. And they're sad because they're literally getting jabbed with all of these needles.
Like getting shots.
She actually tested like on the scale. She tested relatively low. But the allergist was like, I've seen people test even lower that still need an EpiPen. So like we want to keep her like safe. Like don't give her anything. And she could have things with eggs baked in it. She just couldn't have straight
up eggs. Interesting.
Yeah. I think her allergy was like so far to straight eggs to the point where she could have even like egg noodles, which is they're like even less cooked, like baked. I mean,
Yeah.
but the straight egg was a no-go. And so we went back a year later to get retested. She had another back prick. and she tested lower than the previous year. So
That's
then
good.
from there, we did the challenge, the food challenge, which is a 4-hour grueling appointment where they give her like actual scrambled eggs. So they give her like a teeny tiny amount of scrambled eggs. She eats it. They wait 20 minutes. No reaction. They give her double that amount. She eats that.
What?
They wait 20 minutes, half hour. They give her double that amount. And it goes all the way up to eating a whole egg. And if there's no reaction or anything, then she's like cleared. And she didn't have a reaction. And she's now allergy free. Like, we just got rid of her EpiPens. And she eats eggs like almost every day now. So
is that like normal to grow out of?
some allergies, eggs is a really common one to grow out of. Things like nuts is a pretty uncommon one to grow out of. That tends to be a little bit more serious. But now they do all kinds of different things. They do like exposure therapy where you can like give them a tiny bit every day, and like it takes years to complete that type of therapy. But
Oh my gosh.
gives you peace of mind because allergies are scary. Chloe had a weird reaction to eggplant. So I homemade all her baby foods. And that was one that I tried. It's just like on the list of things to try. So, and when she had it, she got a red mouth. And I swear she had like 1 or 2 hives on her face. So I did call the doctor for that and was like, hey, like she's breathing fine. Like I'm not worried that she's in any danger. But
having been through that with Lainey.
yeah, I was like, well, also just like working in childcare, I see that stuff all the time. But I was like Googling eggplant, and they say it's pretty common to like develop a rash. Kind of like ranch is another one that's really common that creates this like this big, because it's like such a vinegar based ketchup sometimes too. And I remember when I was working in the classrooms, I would get teachers like freaking out after we had like a cucumber and ranch snack because like half the kids in the class had like red faces, and we're like, it's just a sensitive skin thing, like they're fine, like they're breathing, they're okay. But yeah, we haven't given it to her since, but so that's another thing that like maybe did Millie ever have any like reactions to anything?
No, we were pretty lucky when she like first started trying foods. She never had like any reactions to any food.
Good.
Just the choking thing is really the only thing with food. Maybe because I won't let her try all the things. No, that's not true. I let her try things within reason.
Yeah,
It's
scary though.
Been to the emergency room?
Like ER? Yes. Actually, I didn't even write this down. Oh wait. Yeah, no. Oh yes, I did. Sorry.
She's losing it.
Yes, I have. So when Lainey was like, you're gonna hear me say 6 to 7 months a lot. Those were really rough months in her life.
Were you okay?
I was not okay. She was not okay. She had a horrible stomach bug, like to the point where this little tiny baby was sitting up in her crib and she was like retching, like dry heaving, like it was awful. You know, like when you're really sick and that feeling. She couldn't keep anything down. She got so dehydrated that we took her to Children's because she was like going limp. And like we would like lift her arm and it would just fall, and we're like, oh my God, like we couldn't get her to drink any like we would give her the tiniest amount of her bottle and she would just immediately throw it up. We got there and they didn't think she was bad enough to admit her, and I was like, I literally cannot even imagine what point she would need to be at where they would have had to admit her and give her fluids. We had to feed her with a 1 milliliter syringe, rotating between formula and Pedialyte. It was so scary. Like, so I think we could have handled it a little differently, but Lainey was a projectile vomiter. Like, I'm talking like from me to you, like it would have probably gone past you.
What?
And every once in a while she would like, her entire bottle would come up. And I remember talking to her doctor about it, and he was like, yeah, some kids just like do that. And as long as it's not happening all the time, this is probably like a maybe once or twice a week ordeal that would happen.
Oh gosh, that's too frequent.
We had a running joke that because we would rotate bedtimes, and it happened most frequently at bedtime, I think, because she was laying flat more when we were holding her, because we would try to feed her like after we fed her, we'd
like
put her
elevated.
upright, and it would be a babe can you come help me, like and we come in with the towels and the carpet spray and everything. So like when she first started getting sick like that, we were like, oh, here we go again. And then like it continued and continued and continued, and I get really, and I think I'm extra sensitive to it now whenever they like wouldn't drink after that, or when Chloe wouldn't drink, I'm like, I'm not going through this again. Like,
Yeah.
because it's so scary. What about you?
Yeah, we went to the emergency room once. It was after a pediatrician appointment, though. So she was like, RSV was going around school, and she was like, just had all the symptoms. And so I took her to the pediatrician, and they were like, yeah, we're pretty sure that she has it. Like, you need to go to, just take her to the emergency room, like, just to be safe. Which was actually kind of nice that we like went to the pediatrician first, because we were able to kind of like skip the line at like they called children's, and children's.
You were like triaged in. That's nice.
Which was kind of nice.
VIP.
But yeah, so we had to stay there for probably like 3 hours. We weren't admitted either, but they just like monitored her
Did they give her
oxygen
breathing
levels, and gave her some breathing treatments. It was just like so pitiful to see your baby like all like hooked up to all these things, and like just so miserable. Like they just have a whole different like look about them when they're like not feeling well, and she was so sleepy. Just did not feel good. But yeah, that was the only time, knock on wood, and that was probably the last scary thing that's happened.
I have RSV written down as something that we've never had.
Really?
So that's not something that we've ever had to deal with, which is a very, especially when you have teeny tiny babies, like it can be life threatening.
I want to say she was like a year. Yeah, probably a little over a year.
I worked at the first like childcare center I worked at. My director, her little girl had RSV and was in the hospital for like I think like a week.
Oh no!
And like she was okay, but
yeah, I was so glad
scary.
We didn't have to get admitted. Ugh.
Has Millie ever had strep?
No, I don't think so. A lot of times I've thought it was strep, but it didn't end up being strep.
Lainey had strep at like 4 months old.
Oh my God.
And it was funny because like we came in and she's like got a fever, and she's just like, and it's hard when they're babies because you're like, I don't know, she won't eat, she's mad, like she hates everything.
Yeah.
She won't sleep. Yeah, right. And the doctor like looked at her and he was like, I'll do a strep test, but like the chances of a baby this young having it are so rare. Oh my God. He comes back literally 2 minutes later. So she's got strep, and we're like, okay.
Strep test on a baby is the saddest thing ever.
I know. And then I got nervous because I had strep like twice a year every year as a kid.
Yeah.
And it got to the point where they're like, we might want to think about taking your tonsils out. And then my tonsils were like, hey, hold off. We like this body. We are not going to get strep again. So I still have my tonsils, and I've had strep a handful of times as an adult, but that's awful.
Ugh.
What about COVID?
Yes. She had COVID when she was like 6 months.
Same.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was New Year's Eve. Oh. And I was supposed to start a new job, like where I am now, a couple days later, and Lainey had COVID. So I was like transitioning out of a job and into a job, and it's like after the holidays where we're like, we had already been like, should we see family? And we did, and then we're like, Lainey's got COVID. Sorry, everyone. And then Adam got COVID, and then I got COVID. Yeah. So then I hadn't even started this job. I had to call this manager that I'd never worked with before. And I was like, hey, I'm really sorry, but also have COVID. And they were so nice about it. But yeah, Lainey was fine. She was like,
so was Millie.
Totally fine.
It was harder on us because we had to take care of her, so we couldn't take care of ourselves. Mm-hmm. So it's like I didn't feel like I was actually getting to like rest and recoup because I had to take care of her.
I felt like it was just like a really extreme cold.
Really extreme cold.
Yeah. I was just really tired and
so tired.
Yeah.
Which is not fun to deal with a 6-month-old when you're tired.
Right. I mean, you weren't sleeping anyways, so.
True that. She probably slept better, honestly.
Yeah. What about hand, foot, mouth?
Oh my God. That has got to be the worst.
It's the most disgusting. And the worst part about hand, foot, mouth is by the time they look like they have leprosy, they're fine.
Probably almost done.
I mean, they're allowed to go back to school at that point as long as there's nothing open.
No blisters.
So if you've never heard of hand, foot, mouth before.
It's the worst thing ever.
It's bad. So it usually starts with this like random, really, really high fever that lasts like a day, and that's it. And then you're like, that was weird. And then a couple days later, your kiddo starts getting, for Lainey, it started on her butt. She got like this awful diaper rash.
I think Millie's was like her feet.
It was, and then they get these like pus-filled blisters, and Lainey did not have any on her hands or her feet. It was her butt and her mouth.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I think Millie was just her hands and her foot.
That's funny.
And a little on her mouth.
She just had it around her mouth a little bit. It wasn't too bad. And
It
luckily,
looks like chicken pox.
yeah, but like very like
Yucky.
like in a couple locations, like not all over.
Yeah.
And she luckily didn't have any in her mouth, which is usually the most painful for kids because they have a hard time eating because they have blisters literally inside their mouth. So she didn't have that. But it's one of those things too. It's so hard to contain in a daycare because they are contagious before they show symptoms. So it's like one of those things, once it's there, it spreads like freaking wildfire. And like by the time you have it, there's nothing you can do about it. So that's a tough one for sure.
That's the worst. That was the first time Millie got sent home from daycare.
Oh, the memories.
Yeah.
What else did I have on here? Did Millie ever have any reactions from shots or vaccines?
She had the like amoxicillin, like it was like withdrawal rash.
Oh,
have you heard of that?
No.
It only happened to her once, but apparently it's a pretty common thing with kiddos. It's like after you have amoxicillin for how many ever days you have to take it.
Well, since they're on it the entire year of their life.
It's like your body reacts to like getting off of it. And so I was like freaking out because it kind of looked like hand, foot, and mouth. And I was like, no, God, no. You just got off amoxicillin. Don't make me do this. But yeah.
That is another annoying thing with hand, foot, mouth. There's literally zero treatment. Yeah. You can't do anything. It's not bacterial. Like it's just a virus.
You can get it.
Yeah.
I didn't get it.
I did not get it. It's pretty rare for an adult to get it.
My brother got it with his son.
No.
Yeah. And he said it was absolutely the worst thing ever.
That's gross.
Yeah. Yeah.
Lainey or Chloe, neither of them ever had any reactions from vaccines. I think they may have gotten low-grade fevers, but usually
that's pretty normal.
Sleep a little bit and then they're fine. Speaking of like going to the doctor, I always look forward to well visits because I love to see where they're at in their percentiles. I don't know why. Like I think it's so fun.
It is fun.
And it's been very interesting because I have two very different kids. Lainey's always hovered between like 20 and 30%, sometimes lower. And Chloe's always been between like 60 and 80%. So
oh my gosh.
We joke that Lainey's mine and Chloe's Adam.
Yeah, for sure.
What about Millie?
She's like right in the middle now, but like when she was first born, she was in the negative.
Oh, she was teeny.
Like, she was so teeny tiny.
Did she ever have like failure to thrive or anything?
No, she was like growing enough each time, but like
good.
it took her probably a year before she actually got to like
on the chart,
quote unquote on the chart probably like 6 months, but like a year to be like kind of in the middle there. Yeah,
that's
but
funny
now she's like thriving.
Yeah, she's totally. I mean, she's bigger than Lainey.
She's bigger than Lainey. She's like completely normal.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
A couple other things I noted that like we've never had to deal with, so I'm curious if you have. Flu. Never had flu A or B.
We had
me or the girls or Adam.
Really? What was it called? Norovirus?
I feel like that's just a fancy term for a cold. Not a cold, for like a stomach virus.
It was that. So I guess maybe not like the actual flu, but
like influenza.
It felt like the flu. It was awful. But no, I guess we actually haven't.
What about Fifth's disease?
No, what's that?
So that actually does look like chickenpox. It's a like head to toe rash. Oh. I think chickenpox is like fourths, like the fourth. I don't know. They like have them numbered.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, and this one they just like landed on. They're like, I don't know what to call it. Let's call it. It's just fifth. It's the fifth one. Yeah. But no, neither of my girls have ever had it, but it's very common. Like something I saw a lot. And then the last one I had written down was croup. We have not ever had croup.
Yes,
you had a croup.
Yes, it was
that
terrible.
cough.
Oh my gosh,
it sounds
it was so
like
horsey,
so
and it's
deep,
like coming from like their gut. Like it is deep down,
it's like demonic. But they give you a steroid for that, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
They gave us a steroid. It went away pretty quickly after that, but yeah, it's just sad to see them like that. It's like my little baby girl. It sounds like a grown man. Like, yeah, that's not fun at all.
Well, I know that there's probably a million other reasons why people end up at the doctor or go there, but I feel like in the first year we went to the doctor more than we went anywhere.
So much.
And then it kind of stopped. And like with Lainey, like we only ever really go when it's her like checkup.
Yeah.
Which is nice. So like if you are in the thick of it, there is a light at the end of the tunnel. It does get better and easier, and then they rarely get sick because they're like immune to everything now. So
especially if you've got a kiddo in daycare, that first year is going to be real rough because their immune system is just kind of like building up, and they're being exposed to all of these germs from other kids. So
and it's hard too, like especially if you don't have a flexible employer who gets it, because you end up having to take a lot of time off work, and
a lot too.
I remember having that conversation with parents when I was having to send kids home all the time, because we do have to be as strict as we can about keeping sick kids out so it doesn't spread. But then they're like, you know, like my job's on the line here. And I'm like, I'm so sorry. Like, I don't know how to help you. Like, and it puts everybody in a really tough situation. So.
It is hard. Yeah. I didn't think about it from the daycare's perspective.
Yeah. I mean, people all the time would be like, I can't. And we're like, before we even end the conversation, I'm like, and they also have to stay home tomorrow too.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's tough, but it gets better for sure.
It does get better. I would say, like, once she turned a year and a half, like, the sickness
it was
kind of
uphill from there.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. And now it's, like, rare that she's really.
Well, now it's nice because she can tell me what's wrong. Mm-hmm. Like, she's like, my tummy hurts or my ear hurts or.
Yeah.
And anytime she tells me something hurts, as a little test to make sure she's not just attention driven, I'll be like, oh my gosh, does your elbow hurt? And she'll say, yeah. I'm like, okay. You're fine. So,
or do you want
little
a
trick?
Lollipop? Yeah,
will that make it better?
Like, oh, you better now? Okay.
Lainey's in her ice phase. I need ice.
We went through an ice pack phase.
I wish I would have never, ever showed her what those were. But they have them at school, so.
Yeah, there's a lot of things I wish I never would have shown her, but that could probably be an entire episode.
For sure. All right, I am dying to know what next episode is going to be about.
All right, so coming off the heels of Lainey's birthday party and into Chloe's, I think I was inspired to talk about kids' birthday parties.
Okay.
How to throw one.
How not to throw one.
What to put in goodie bags. What activities to do. All things birthday parties.
I love that.
How it differs from ages.
I have party anxiety, like hostess anxiety. So
we'll talk about it.
Love it.
Yeah,
let's do it.
We'll save it for the next episode.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for listening.
Y'all are doing great.
If you're not following us already, we are on Instagram at Cradle to Chaos. We have a Facebook group. You can listen to us on Spotify or wherever you happen to be listening to us now, but also anywhere else that you can find podcasts.
All right, Mom Besties. Thanks for listening.
Have a great week. Bye.